Cali X Boxing. I am back after a 10-day hiatus. This is Hispanics Causing Panic X, by the way, Hispanics Causing Panic Extra. We usually do Hispanics Causing Panic here on Mondays, but D-Style is out today, so we'll be doing that on Wednesday night. So I'm just doing the extra today. And this is just me back doing the podcast after 10 days. Where have I been? I took the family to Disney World for 7 days, and then we came back, and the whole family came back with the worst stomach bug of all time. This thing paralyzed me Saturday. I was still paralyzed yesterday. Couldn't get out of the fetal position. I'm telling you, I fully planned on doing podcasts back at it Friday, Saturday, but I physically could not move and get out of the bed. That's how bad this thing was. So I'm finally getting back and moving again today. So it's good to be back. It's good to be back with you guys. I really have been wanting to get back behind this beautiful blue microphone again and talk to you guys about boxing. A lot of things that I missed, a lot of things breaking, a lot of things that happened over the weekend. So I'm going to talk about all of it. Action-packed podcast today. Ryan Garcia and Tank. I haven't talked about that yet. That being officially official. Matias, that's a bad boy at 140. Good Lord. And 140 is doing that natural, healthy, organic recycling process that you need to have in healthy divisions, right? 147 doesn't have it. 160 doesn't have it. 140, you're starting to see that healthy recycling process of fighters at the top. They get at the top, but can't really stay there because they got young lions picking them off, young lions battling each other. And it's tough to stay at the top in a division like that when guys are mixing it up. So you got that. You got Deontay Wilder all over the place once again. Tommy Fury pulls off the upset against Jake Paul and wins the WBC diarrhea belt in the process. Floyd Mayweather fought in front of like 400 people in the O2 Arena in a ghost town. Shout out to everybody coming through. No negative talk. Jake Paul lost. It's all uphill from now. The funniest part about this was Tommy Fury crying tears of joy. Oh my God, I beat Jake Paul. I beat the guy from the Disney Channel. Oh my God. Leo from the 80 Vega, sup with you as well. Appreciate you swinging through. Hope you had a great time at that. I did not. Words, I can't say it too loud. Words, vacation ever. It was horrible. Hate Disney World. We'll never go back. Shakur, Roscoe Jones in the building. Hope you had a blast. I did not have a blast. Did not. Matthias is a freak of nature. Geesh. And he's a versatile fighter. It's not just pressure fighting. It's a versatile type of press, not a caveman. We say the same thing about like Virgil, right? And William Zepeda. It's a versatile, complex type of pressure fighting that they're putting on. But I'll tell you this, pump the brakes if you're saying this guy's going to beat Regis Program, walk through Regis Program. I want to see him try to walk through body shots. That's what I want to see. Will he be able to walk through body shots and complex fighting of a Regis Program? He's out there saying that he's going to send Regis Program to the hospital. I want to see it. I want to see unification at 140. I want to see movement. Real fighting happens at 140. I want Matias and Prograis to be the anti Ramirez here. And I say that respectfully. He wants to go over there and fight Comey. Go over there and fight Comey. Let the real fight the real at the top of the division. Let's do it. And that's that recycling process I talk about. It's tough for a guy to stay at the top. Jose Ramirez fought tough competition, got his way to the top, fell down the mountaintop, and he's realizing, I don't really want to go through that again. Let these other fighters fight at 140. I'm going to fight Comey in my hometown. Let these other fighters fight at the top. It's tough staying at the top in a division, a deep division full of killers who want to fight each other and are willing to mix it up with each other. So y'all hit that like button as you come through and make sure you're leaving comments. I'll get to all the comments today, and we got an action-packed show. Look, there was a lot of funny stuff that I saw, but this is your new YouTube king right here. Look at him, Tommy Fury. And this guy is crying after the fight, after beating Jake Paul. And look, the embarrassing thing about all this, and I've said it from the beginning, I don't mind this stuff happening. I'm not one of those people that's going to try to ruin other people's fun. If you have fun with this, if you like watching this stuff, that's fine. This is my first time ever watching Jake Paul fight, and I wasn't impressed. I'm just going to be honest. But for me, it's always been what it is. It's a one-off. It's these guys fighting over here. They're making a lot of money. Jake Paul is obviously very famous, and he's bringing an audience into whatever this is, this sideshow of boxing, and that's fine. That's fine. But what happens is you have journalists jumping in the fray, and they want to be a part of this, and they want to be a part of the cliques, and they're not properly educating people on what's happening. And the reason I say that is the WBC is awarding this guy, the winner of this fight, a top 40 designation in their rankings. And you look at BoxRec, and one of them's 374, the other one's 394, and they're fighting each other. And what you have is a fight between two famous guys who aren't good boxers. I watched this fight, and I'm like, what is this? What am I watching here? What am I watching? And what I'm watching is two novices, two guys who, but they're famous. One of them's got the last name. One of them is the Disney Channel guy who happens to be a good athlete. But this guy is out there saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. This guy is out there saying for a year now, 3 years, I'm going to beat Canelo. I'm going to be a real champion one day. And what happens? He goes against the first boxer, and Tommy Fury, and he loses. And Tommy Fury acts like he's climbed Mount Everest after the fight. Everybody said I was going to lose this fight. First of all, nobody did. Everybody wasn't saying you were going to lose the fight because you were plus 150 underdog. So that's close to toss up. So it's him against the world, right? And he climbs Mount Everest. And he's crying after the fight, and it's embarrassing for a boxer. That is your main gig. You're a boxer. This guy has 17 different side hustles, and boxing is one of them. And you're celebrating like you beat Floyd Mayweather, dude. You beat Jake Paul. Boxing is his side hustle. And then the WBC comes out here, and they rank Tommy Fury. They have to rank Tommy Fury top 40 now because he beats the dude from the Disney Channel. And they award him an honorary belt, and this dude's got a belt around his neck after the fight. It's a WBC honorary belt called the diarrhea belt or something like that. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, man, how many people are not able to decipher what's up from down here? That these dudes aren't good boxers, that this is a sideshow. And I'm fine with all of that, but they can't. The boxing journalists want to become a part of this so they don't educate people on what they're watching. The boxing journalists should have been out there saying the same thing I've been saying for a year now. Look, have your fun. This is fun. This is good. Have your fun. But this is what you're watching. But they're afraid to say that because they don't want the backlash. They don't want to lose the clicks. They should have been properly educating people, and that's why they look so bad on Monday morning after this fight. And they don't know it, but they look bad because they haven't been properly educating people on this guy can't become a world champion. He just lost to a dude who was ranked 394 on BoxRec. There are people out there saying Ngannou can come out here and beat Deontay Wilder if they fight. There are people out there saying that Ngannou can beat the number 99 ranked BoxRec heavyweight. I'm here to tell you he can't. He can't. I don't care how much power that dude has in 4-ounce, 6-ounce gloves with his fingertips out. I don't care. He can't beat a pure boxer coming off the street, coming off the octagon. He can't. How bad did MMA fighters look on Sunday? They were getting knocked out by this dude from the Disney Channel. Tommy Fury walks out here as a rank amateur and outboxes Jake Paul. I had him winning 6 of the 8 rounds. And the MMA fighters can't beat this guy. The number 394 ranked guy by BoxRec in the division, in the cruiserweight division. Beats Jake Paul. He did something that MMA fighters and backup point guards can't do. What that shows you is the top 400 guys in boxing. They're not backup point guards, retired point guards. They're not. They're not MMA fighters. It's a different game. In the WBC, and I'm going to get to all these comments, but let me get to this. WBC belt, ridiculous. And what that is it's this. It's belts going wild. They don't want to lose out. The journalists don't want to lose out. The WBC definitely doesn't want to lose out. The WBC is looking horrible last week, but I told you they would do this with Conor Benn. I told you, don't doubt me on this with Conor Benn, that situation. I'm going to talk about that coming up. The Conor Benn situation and why it was always going to play out like this. And for some reason, y'all were hell-bent on canceling Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. For no reason. And not for no reason, but I knew it was going to play out this way. And we tried to warn you. The virtue signaling was just going to cancel a good fight. That's all it was going to do. But the WBC, up to their old tricks last week, not only with Conor Benn, but here with Jake Paul. They wanted badly Jake Paul to win this fight and be in the top 40. And they can start to cash in on Jake Paul. Rankings should be rankings. Nothing else should be involved besides who are the best fighters? Who are the better fighters? Sports rankings. Top 25 in college basketball, college football. They shouldn't have anything to do with money. They should have everything to do with who is winning, who is the best, who is better. And it should be no different with boxing and sanctioning organizations. And the fact that it is tells us how bad of a spot we're in boxing. The fact that we got two dudes and we saw them fight yesterday. And the WBC was hell-bent before even watching the fight. Before even watching the fight, saying one of these guys is going to be ranked in the top 40. Before even watching the fight. And then we watched that fight, and the WBC now has to rank Tommy Fury in the top 40. Matias is a bad boy. Badou Jack winning a title, that was a good performance. And I love Badou Jack. I love what's going on with his career. He's a guy who has fought the best of the best. Now he's a legit 3-division champion. 168, 175 in cruiserweight. And he's done it the hard way. He's had some tough decisions go against him. And now he wins this fight for a legitimate title. Good win. I thought this was a decision fight. I thought it was going to be a decision fight. And Badou Jack comes out there and gets a 12-round stoppage. He does not leave it in the hands of the judges. He gets out there, gets it done. And good for Badou Jack. One of the good stories in boxing. One of the guys who came up the hard way. One of the guys who everybody undervalued fight after fight after fight after fight. And he continues to exceed expectations. And now he's a legit 3-division champion. Good for him. Dude, those punches Matias be throwing have just a little bit of hips behind it. And he'd be hurting these MFs. Dude, 140 is a gauntlet. And Matias, a Puerto Rican champion. There's value in being a Puerto Rican champion. Now there's only 2 in boxing. There's value there. There's value in being a Puerto Rican champion because that Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry will always be there. It will always be special. It's always a rivalry people want to see. It's like Duke, North Carolina in basketball, Michigan, Ohio State in football. People want to see it. A Puerto Rican champion brings value. Matias is a bad man. He's a fun fighter. We've been looking for that Puerto Rican champ to come out there and say, I'm going to be the guy that everybody's going to get behind. Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend, New York City. Maybe Matias will be that guy a year from now. Maybe he'll be that guy this year. But I got some thoughts on Matias versus Prograis. I got some thoughts. My guy Nando coming through. Appreciate you coming through. Always. The belt did look kind of dope, though. I like the black strap. The WBC makes some tight belts, man. Like aesthetically pleasing belts. The problem is they're crap. They're crap. I think this thing's called the diarrhea belt. It's about as valuable as diarrhea. And I've had a lot of diarrhea the past couple of days with this stomach flu. Trying to liquid myself up right now. Got back from Disney World and came back with the stomach flu. And boy, was it an ugly one. Good Lord. WBC going to WBC. Yep. Belts are ridiculous. Tommy deserves top 40 ranking. In my opinion, I don't think there's clearly 40 guys ahead of him. He's probably number 40 anyway. I don't agree with that. I'll just leave it at that. I don't agree with that. Resume-wise, I want you to look at Tommy Fury's resume. Just look at the resume and forget the name. Forget that Jake. I think people see Jake Paul and they think something more valuable than it is. Jake Paul is like he was 0-0 against boxers leading into this fight. So I don't see how this win catapults you from 300 something to 40. I don't see how does it do that. I could find you, dude. I swear to God, I can find you 40 fighters in the cruiserweight division better than Tommy Fury. And my advice to Tommy Fury, by the way, would be, dude, he's out there, he's crying like he climbed Mount Everest, and that's fine. Like this was some sort of prestigious victory. Okay, but that tells you everything you need to know about Tommy Fury. And I'm not trying to attack him as a person. This is just strictly boxing fan and boxer. If he's celebrating, carrying on like that by beating Jake Paul, he was the guy that Jake Paul handpicked and said, I think this is the boxer that I can beat. Look at his last name, and I think he's very vulnerable. And then you get knocked down and win a split decision against Jake Paul. And you're telling me I can't find 40 guys better than that guy in the division? People are going to claim I'm hating on Jake Paul here again. I'm just trying to tell you what it is. My advice to Tommy Fury will be go out on top, because clearly this was such a monumental victory for you. You did it for your baby daughter. You're out there crying. If this was go out on top, because there's no pathway forward for you in boxing. You're not going to win a real title. It's not going to happen. People are saying Tommy Fury needs to fight Nico Ali Walsh. Fight the legendary champion's grandson, and then you're the brother of the heavyweight champion, so y'all can have some sort of, and they can keep this thing going. But go out on top as the YouTube champion. You know, if Jake Paul wants a rematch, obviously it's going to be lucrative. Do that. If it ends up being a trilogy, do that. But after Jake Paul, there's no pathway forward for Tommy Fury that's going to end up well. I'm telling you, if he thinks he's going to win a legit title, Badou Jack would send this dude to hell. Makabu would send this dude to hell. It would be ugly. I'm telling you. Jake won 3 rounds while Tommy won 5. That's fine. I mean, I'm fine with that. The best belt is the lineal belt. I agree. But the lineal belt doesn't always signify the lineal champion, to be honest. There's breaks in lineal. I like ring. I like the ring belt, but there are breaks in lineal. That slow cook BS that was Pacquiao Mayweather did more damage to boxing. Millions of casuals paid. I agree. Nando. And I think for the most part, people know the difference, right? And I'm not trying to be the dude on the front porch yelling at kids skateboarding. I'm not that dude. I'm just trying to say, like, boxing journalists should be out there properly educating people on what's what, and they're not doing a good job of that in many ways, and this is one of them. They're trying to jump on the bandwagon and get behind Jake Paul, and they're abandoning the ethics in the process. That's my only complaint with it. I have no problem with this sideshow. I have no problem with KSI, Misfits Boxing. All that's fine with me. It's fine. It's just Boots and William will be on the. I did hear that on the Ryan undercard, and if that's the case, then that's great. But I don't want Boots and Williams to pay to in showcase fights anymore. I don't want that. If it's just them being active, that's fine. Keep them active. Fight quarterly if you're going to be fighting these fights. We talked about that, right? We've talked about that. Take the Gennady Golovkin route. If you're not fighting killers, fight quarterly. Then that's fine. But at least fight quarterly. I want to see Boots, Williams Zepeda start to step it up. That's what I want to see. I want to see a true stacked card, not just names on a card, because I could have got that with the Tank Davis, Hector Luis Garcia fight. I want to see fights. More than fighters, I want to see fights. So I want to see them stack that card. Jake Paul was robbed. I would disown Tommy. That's harsh. Look, Tommy succeeded. He succeeded. He went out there and succeeded. He did his job. He wasn't Fredo from The Godfather. Like, remember Fredo from Fredo just couldn't accomplish anything. He was trying hard. I had to give it to him. Like, Fredo, I'm watching The Godfather. You want him to succeed, right? And he just can't. He just keeps messing things up. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Tommy has Fredo vibes, but he succeeded here. So I'm saying go out on top because the more you mess around with this boxing thing, the more you're prone to become Fredo. Go out on top, man. Like Tommy going on top. Tommy has a lot of things going for him. Boxing's not one of them. Like, you can become a YouTube star now. You can become like the gypsy version of Jake Paul. You have other things going for you. You can become a model. You can do a lot of things. But this boxing thing ain't one of them. I'm telling you, don't get fooled by what happened yesterday. Don't get fooled. What you saw is two barely pro guys. You had a full-time boxer fighting a dude with boxing as a side hustle, and he wins, and he's crying after the fight. You kids, get off my landscape. Boots' entire career is showcase fights. I agree. Tommy is the Jan Brady. Good Lord. Y'all cut Tommy some slack. Tommy's winning. Tommy won. He won. All right. This is the man right here. This is the YouTube king. He is the YouTube king. Look, we got Tank versus Ryan. And I haven't talked about this. This is 3 days now, but I'm going to talk about it. And I haven't talked about Tank versus Ryan in the past few months because I didn't want to be one of those people, clickbait, just talking about something that may or may not happen. I went on the roundtable panel and said that I was 90% certain that this fight would happen. I think it was too far along to cancel it at this point. And now it's officially official, and that's great news. But once again, we need to educate people on what's what. What is this fight and what is it not? What is it? What is it not? I love this fight. Stylistically, this is a great fight. I mean, Tank versus Ryan, stylistically, this is a beautiful fight. And to me, it's a toss-up fight. And I'm going on the record here. I'll state it now, and I'm not going to back off this. I think Ryan Garcia wins this fight. I think he is incredibly undervalued as a 3-1 underdog here. I think he's undervalued. I think we're putting too much stock in what Tank has done against inferior opposition. And Ryan has been about as successful against inferior opposition as well. Tank has a better resume. He does. But both of them need each other badly. And to me, this is a toss-up fight, and I like Ryan winning this fight. But what is it? This fight is a fight that both fighters badly needed, and why? Because both fighters are missing that big win on their resume, which is embarrassing. And that's why we've been calling them out. Both guys extremely talented. We got to give them that. They're talented. They look that way. They pass the eye test with flying colors. They do. The reason they need each other is the big win has been escaping both of them. And the reason they need each other even more so is out of the top peers at 135 and 140, this is the most winnable fight for both of these guys. I don't think either fighter has a better chance of beating Devin Haney than each other, Vasily Lomachenko than each other, Shakur Stevenson than each other. And if you go up to 140, Matias, Prograis, Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, do you think that those guys have a better chance of beating those guys than each other? They need each other. This is a fight that both fighters needed badly. They both need a win, a meaningful win badly. So why not do it against each other where stylistically Tank has a better chance of beating Ryan than his other top peers. Ryan has a better chance of beating Tank than his other top peers. And oh, by the way, it's the biggest fight. It's a bigger fight than all those other fights. Why not do it? The fact that they haven't done it already is sad. And it speaks to how broken the boxing system is. It speaks to how broken the politics of the sport is, that they haven't done it already because they need each other so badly. I got 50 on Ryan. I'll have more than that. Weird going ons at PBC. Ruiz leaving TGB, but not Al. And I'll speak on that. Low budget Showtime putting on 3 cards in a row beginning this past weekend. Yep. I had my thoughts on him leaving TGB and not Al. And I'll share those in a minute, but I want to keep going with this Tank Ryan thing. It's Tank's taking on a prospect and Ryan stepping up a la Tio versus Loma. What kind of ratings would Tank Ryan get if they were well promoted and shown on ABC or NBC? Salute D Nice in the building as well. To me, Tank has been mismanaged, mispromoted throughout his career. I don't think they should be promoting him as a guy who is this undefeated pound for pound guy. I think they need to be promoting him as a knockout artist, an exciting fighter. That way, if he loses, so what? Who cares? The aura doesn't go with that. If he keeps winning, that's fine. That's extra on top. That's lanyap. That's fine. But they should have been putting this guy in with tougher competition throughout his career. They should have been having this guy in front of more faces. Then he would have been a pound for pound star on top of a live gate star. This is the most winnable fight for both fighters at 135 and 140. One of these fighters will get the win that's been evading them. That's what's important. And on top of that, stylistically, it's a great fight because they mirror each other in so many ways, both inside the ring and outside the ring. Economical fighters. Tank Davis, the most economical fighter in the top of the sport, throws 34 punches per round as a lightweight. Ryan Garcia throws about 42, economical fighter as a lightweight junior welterweight. They both rely heavily on knockouts and power. They'll both give up rounds to inferior opposition. The question for Tank is, can you give up rounds early against Ryan like you did against those inferior opponents and then rely heavily on the knockout late in the fight? The odds makers seem to think so. The odds makers have placed him as a 3-1 favorite. I think they messed up. I got news for y'all, man. I don't think Ryan Garcia's heart pumps Kool-Aid. I don't think so. I used to think that. I don't think that anymore. This dude's been pushing for this fight. This dude wanted to fight 3 or 4 times last year before the PBC started messing around with them, saying, no, you can't get a tune-up. No, you get it in December. No, you get it in January. No, it's going to be in April. I think this dude wanted to fight multiple times last year. I think he wanted this fight before April. He's the main one who Oscar De La Hoya can be out there all he wants saying, I'm the reason this fight happened. Ryan's the reason this fight's happening. And I think this dude's got some ig in him. We used to call it ig, instant gangster. I think when he gets tapped by Tank, that's when we'll find out. When Tank catches that chin and Ryan sort of brushes it off, or he goes down like he did against Luke Campbell and pops back up, we got to fight. We got to fight. I'm telling y'all, Ryan Garcia's heart does not pump Kool-Aid. I think I've sized this dude up from afar pretty good the past couple months. I think I was wrong about him a year or 2 ago. I think he's coming around. I think he sized Tank up from ringside. I think he wanted this fight badly after watching the past couple fights and saying he was willing to take the catch weight at 136. He was willing to jump through all the obstacles. You can't have the tune-up in October. We'll do that in December. Then they're not going to do it in December. Then January, he's like, no, I'm not messing around anymore. We go straight to the fight. He's not going to do his tune-up in January. They mess around a little more. Don't give him a contract. Nothing in writing. He's waiting around, pushing for this fight, both internally and on social media. And he's finally got it official. I'm telling you, there's a reason this dude wanted this fight. And I think internally, he knows this is the most winnable fight for him in and around the division. And it's also the biggest win for him because it comes with the most money attached to it. You are sick to think Ryan is going to win. Tank is way more skillful than Ryan. Tank fights are more meaningful, hands down. We'll see. We'll see. I don't bet people online anymore. People don't pay. I have my Caesars app. I'll be betting on my Caesars app and I get better odds. So you can call me what you want. Tank won't hit Ryan with his T-Rex arms. Tank will get a left hook from hell right on top of his big head. Ryan is boxing tall and long now thanks to Goosen. Now, would I be shocked if Tank knocks him out? No, not at all. Like I said, this is a toss-up fight to me. It's a toss-up fight. I can see Tank winning. I can see Ryan winning. My instincts tell me Ryan is going to pull off the upset here. My instincts tell me Ryan is undervalued at 3-1 odds. And that's why I take the odds. I don't bet people straight up. I've learned my lesson on here 11, 12 years. I don't bet people straight up anymore because I know that money's not going to come. I will take those 3-1 odds every day of the week. And that's no disrespect to Tank Davis. Tank Davis possesses a lot of power. He may be more layered than Ryan Garcia. I don't know. We're strictly going off the eye test with these two guys. That's another thing that makes this makes this extremely interesting. We don't know who these two fighters are. We just don't. Anybody telling you they know who Tank is and know who Ryan is, they don't know. Sometimes it's okay, and I'm going to say this a couple of times during this show. Sometimes it's okay to just say you don't know. I'm looking at the happenings in Saudi Arabia this past weekend. Deontay talking to princes, Tyson out there talking to princes. And I'm looking at this, and then I see Andy Ruiz go back to Al Heyman, believing TGB. And sometimes you watch this and you're saying, I don't really know. I don't really know what's going to play out. My instincts tell me Fury Usyk happens for Undisputed. I don't know what Deontay's going to do. He's all over the place right now. And I got some video clips on that I'll be showing momentarily. But anybody telling you that they know who Tank is, they don't know. Because he simply hasn't been in there with top competition yet. Anybody telling you they know who Ryan is, my instincts tell me his heart doesn't pump Kool-Aid, but I'm not certain on that. I don't know who Ryan Garcia is. But my instincts tell me 3-1 underdog. No, this is a toss-up fight. Ryan will use his size. He will use his jab. He will try to keep Tank off of him. Tank gets on the inside. Tank will sit on those punches. He will be economical as always. There'll be feel-out rounds in the first couple rounds. There'll be a lot of tenseness. Both guys rely on power, very economical. They'll both look very tense in the first 3, 4, 5 rounds. The middle rounds will play out. They'll start tapping each other's chin. That's when we'll figure out who is who. Come on, Calix, I will pay. I got a good track record. You will pay. Chauncey has paid me. Chauncey's a good man. You should name the douchebags who didn't pay you, call him out. I will not do that. Ryan want this clout. He's a clout chaser. I watched them both. Question Spectrum TV website and Ryan Tank on their schedule before it was announced. They also said Spence Bud in June. It does not mean anything. And I spoke on this last week on Twitter. You'll have content creators out there when they get bored, when there's nothing out there to talk about, when they don't have the clicks, when they don't have the fights. And by the way, we got a good fight coming up this weekend, Figueroa versus Max Zio. And I'll be talking about that a lot this week. And I'm looking at my notes here. I don't think I'm going to get through half of the stuff I wanted to talk about. So more tomorrow. But the Spectrum TV thing doesn't mean anything. I see the content creators out there, again, trying to lure people into Bud versus Errol talk, Errol versus Bud talk. Stop with the Errol. It's another thing I refuse to talk about unless something actually happens. Spectrum TV, Cox. I've seen Cox. I had Cox for years. I've seen Cox mess up people's names on the schedule all the time. I've seen Cox mess up schedules all the time. I've seen Cox promote fights where they had the wrong fighter's face on the card that they're promoting, the pay-per-view that they're promoting. They get things wrong all the time. So somebody saw Spectrum TV, Bud versus Spence, so it's a leak. It's not a leak. They got it wrong. They got it wrong. It means nothing. People who say clout chasers are the same who say exposed. Yeah, I don't know. Go through both of their competition. I already said Tank's competition has been better than Ryan's. But both of their competition, both of their resumes are weak. Both of their resumes are thin as hell. So that leads me into, what is this fight not? What isn't it? It's not for 135-pound supremacy. Why is it not for 135-pound supremacy? First, let's talk about the obvious. It's at 136. So this is actually officially a junior welterweight fight. It's not even a lightweight fight. So it's not for lightweight supremacy. You'll have people out there promoting that, right? These are the two best lightweights out there. Neither one of them are fighting at lightweight for this fight. They're fighting at 136, a catchweight, and it keeps the theorem alive, right? What have we talked about in the past? The Tank Davis theorem. And it's broadened to the Tank Davis-Ryan Garcia theorem. And the theorem is, one part of the theorem is you don't campaign in a single weight class. You don't want to become a stationary target for your top peers. You want to tell people that the belts don't matter while still promoting yourself as a champion, even though you're not a real champion. So Tank doesn't have anything valuable at 135. Ryan Garcia doesn't have anything valuable at 135. Ryan Garcia is not even ranked at 135 anymore because he's saying he's a junior welterweight now. But what is Ryan Garcia doing while campaigning at junior welterweight? He's fighting lightweights at junior welterweight. He's fighting him at catchweight. But to Ryan's credit, with this at least, is he would rather fight at 140. In this case, he's being drained down to 136 by Tank Davis. That's what's happening here. But it's not a lightweight supremacy fight because neither one of these fighters are top two lightweights. The two top lightweights will be fighting in May or June. Their names are Devin Haney, who happens to be the champion, the one and only champion at 135. Anybody out there parading around as a champion at lightweight whose name isn't Devin Haney is a fraud. I'm sorry to break that to you. This is a bigger fight than Haney Lomachenko. It is. This is a bigger fight than Haney Lomachenko, but it's not a more meaningful fight. It's not a more valuable fight. Haney and Lomachenko, number one and number two in the division, because they've earned that. And Haney is the champion. This is not a lightweight supremacy fight. That fight is happening in May or June. So this doesn't solve the lightweight puzzle, this fight. It just doesn't. Anybody trying to sell you on that is lying to you, or they're just not educated. One of the two. The two top lightweights are fighting after this fight. But this keeps the theorem alive, right? They don't want to be seen as the guy at lightweight. They want to say they are, and they want their fans to fight that battle for them online. But they don't want to put in that work, and they don't want that target on their back. They don't want that target on their back. That's another reason this fight is valuable for both those fighters, both these fighters. They can fight at a catchweight, and they can keep the theorem alive. Don't be seen as a target. Fight in multiple different weight classes. 130, 135, 140. So if top lightweights start calling out Tank after this fight, he can say, no, I'm actually a junior welterweight. If Regis Prograde calls out Tank or Ryan, say, no, I'm actually a lightweight. No, I actually fight at catchweights. No. You're mistaken. You're mistaken. I've seen the content creators the past couple of weeks try to say that Tank's a real 3-division champion. Sorry. Shout out Team Batman Boxing. Go through both their competition. I read that. This is a big money fight. It's a sellout. It's a sellout fight. That's for sure. It's a big money fight. Don't make excuses for Ryan coming down in weight. I'm just telling you what it is. He's being drained. I'm not going to make excuses. He's the one coming down. He agrees to 136. That's on him. It's on him. He had to do it to get the fight. It's on him. But it also speaks to Tank. Is your confidence really there if you got to drain a dude down to 136? Just saying. Simply just saying. I don't know why they say that. I don't know. I don't know why they say Tank's a 3-division champ. I don't know why. You think Haney versus Loma ends up in the Middle East? I heard Top Rank wants it in Vegas, but Haney is pushing for Saudi Arabia. I don't know. That's one of those things I'll readily admit. I don't know. And I saw Haney ringside for this fight in Saudi Arabia. And this is what's happening in Saudi Arabia. This is a good segue. Did I miss anything with what it's not? Oh, what Tank, before I get into that segue, I'll keep that up there. But when you're rusty, you have to have notes. It's been 10 days. But with Tank versus Ryan, this fight is to me, this is like a retribution fight. It's a penance to the fans for what you haven't been giving us over the years. Tank and Ryan have not been reaching their potential because they haven't been fighting the fights they should be fighting over the years. So this is like a penance. This is repentance. This is getting them back in good graces with the boxing fans. It's a start, but it's only a beginning. You got to put in extra work after that. And what I'm saying is neither one of these fighters, if they win this fight, it does give them a name on their resume, but it does not solidify their legacy as great fighters. It does not. A win here does not get either fighter in the Hall of Fame. We've been too easy as boxing fans to give fighters that credit. We've been too easy to say, oh, that fighter's a Hall of Fame fighter. Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame fighter. We'll have a million dudes in the Hall of Fame at this point. Neither fighter, if they win this fight, become a Hall of Fame fighter off of this fight. They need to do more work after that. So this fight is also not that. It's not a Hall of Fame type fight. It's a beginning. It's a start, but they need to do more after that. Right now, what we have with Ryan Garcia is a guy who hasn't won a legit title. Hasn't won a title, doesn't have any belts. And we have a guy in Tank Davis who has one belt on his resume, hasn't won a real title at 135 or 140 yet. And neither one of these guys is top 2 in their division right now. And to be quite honest, they're not even actively and consistently competing in a single weight class, which is part of the theorem. So neither one of these guys gets their legacy solidified. This is a beginning. It's a start. That's what this is. Mayweather Corrales. I need more with that. What do you mean by that? Elaborate, Nando. I don't know what you mean by Mayweather Corrales. Do you think that this is going to be sort of I don't know. You'd have to elaborate on that. Mayweather Corrales Mayweather went in and destroyed him. Good Lord. That was Mayweather's greatest performance besides Canelo. That and the Canelo fight. But I want y'all to, we'll get back to that. I want to share screen this. I want y'all to listen to this. Let's see if y'all got this. All right. Looks like y'all got it. Let me share this. Sean Porter. This is Sean Porter over the weekend in Saudi Arabia, giving advice to top fighters out there. No, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear Sean Porter there? Somebody clarify if y'all heard what Sean Porter said there and have the share screen work there. What Sean Porter is telling people is you need to start fighting. You need to cut out the middleman. And it brings me to what Andy Ruiz is doing. What is Andy Ruiz doing? Andy Ruiz is sticking with, there's no audio. All right, let's try this again. Let me see. Let me see if I can get some audio here. Let's see. All right. Let's try this one more time. Present, share screen, Microsoft Edge. Let's see. All right, here it is. All right, let's share this. All right, let me give y'all this.
And you know what? They can get it done. I can't wait to see what's next.
I would encourage a lot of fighters out there to diversify yourself. Don't be afraid to travel. Don't be afraid to go outside of your home or outside of where you fight often to go on and take on a challenge and an opportunity like this. Was a beautiful night. We had great weather the whole time we were here. We were treated like we were family. And to cap it all off, the co-main event, electrifying.
They want the biggest.
What is Sean Porter saying here, fellas? What is Sean Porter saying here? He's simply saying, get out of your comfort zone. What is Andy Ruiz doing? He's leaving TGP, but he's staying with Al. Now, we can make what we want about him staying with Al, but the point is he's cutting out the promoter, and I'm sure he's going to be in this mix in Saudi Arabia. Deontay Wilder becomes an open agent. He said he's still working with Al, but he's now an open agent or free agent. But these guys are starting to see other fighters cut out the middleman. The Saudi princes don't want to work with the middleman. They want to work directly with the fighters. And they're telling dudes, come out here and get this oil money. Come out here and make the fights that everybody wants to see. We're fans like everybody else, but we're fans with billions of dollars. We're fans running oil. Give the fans what they want to see. And Sean Porter's trying to give these dudes advice. It's nice out here in the desert. These dudes have money. They're throwing it around like it's water. It's flowing like it's water. Come out here, get out of your comfort zone, and come make the fights that everybody wants to see. Come make some money. Deontay Wilder has no problem fighting the fights that Al Heyman wants him to fight. What I read from this is Deontay Wilder simply wants more money for those fights, and he can get more money working with the princes than TGB Promotions, where he's concealed to America. I've said it about the PBC fighters for a long time. They don't know what it's like to go on the road for a fight, hop on a plane, and look down and see ocean. They don't know. They don't know. To put it quite honestly, the domestic level fighters, they're fighting simply in America. They don't know the world outside of there. And for a guy like Deontay Wilder, for a guy like Andy Ruiz, they're domestic level fighters in a global division. There's a lot happening over in the UK, over in Saudi Arabia now in the heavyweight division. They're seeing the money those dudes are making. You see the landscape in Saudi Arabia. These dudes are, the fans are in bleachers. They're resurrecting just in the middle, outside in the desert. They're resurrecting like little stadiums, mini stadiums, like overnight out there in bleachers. But yet these dudes are making so much money. They're seeing these dudes do this and they're like, why can't I be a part of this? I want to be a part of this. I don't want to be concealed to America when I'm in a global division. It's like the lower weight class fighters, Stephen Fulton Jr., Josh Franco. They see the money that these lower weight class fighters are making over in Japan and saying, I want to be a part of that. We're seeing more fighters realize that there's more outside of these borders in America. We haven't caught up as American boxing fans. We still think that everything is here. And it's not. It's a different landscape now. It's a different landscape now. There's money to be made over there. I've been saying it for a while. It's going to come a time 5-10 years from now where all the big fights are going to be elsewhere. As the global brand of boxing grows and domestically here in America, it shrinks, more so the big fights are going to be made elsewhere. You're going to have to hop on a plane, see an ocean below you to go make your big fights. Deontay's realizing. He looked happy out there. Deontay's out there realizing, man, I can make a lot of money out here. I've been kind of messing up staying over there in America. Shout out Thaddeus Carter, the jump off, Mayweather Corrales. They were nowhere near Hall of Fame fighters. They got a lot of work to do, Tank and Ryan. They got a lot of work to do. Both are fighting for an HBO contract. I got you now. I got you now. In that aspect, yes. But I don't think that fight's going to play out anywhere like that. And I don't think that's what you're implying, by the way. But go across the street and seek glory. That's right. Go make the fights, man. Go make the fights. You have promoted. We got to get back to the point. People keep telling me the fighters want the fights. It's the business and the politics holding them back. Prove it. Do like Stephen Fulton Jr. Prove it. Prove it. Go make the fight. Go cross the street. Make the fight. No matter what network you got to do it on. I've been saying it for a while. These are invisible obstacles. They're not real. If the fighters want the fight, the promoter manager works for you, go make it happen. Go make it happen. TGP is a front, Ginkgo olive oil, and it is. And for the people who don't realize it yet, and the Haymanites are not going to like this. It's complex for a reason, because people will see that and they'll see Andy Ruiz leaving TGB but staying with Al. What does it mean? I don't know what it means. It's supposed to be complex, right? It's like politics. It's supposed to be complex. They don't want you to understand it. They want you to be in the dark. It's a way for Al to get around the Muhammad Ali Act. In order for him to get around the Muhammad Ali Act, it has to be complex to follow. You're not supposed to be a manager and promoter simultaneously. It's against the Muhammad Ali Act. You're not supposed to do it, but he can do it by calling himself an advisor and having a shell promotional company like TGP work as the de facto promoter. But when the fighter goes away from TGP Promotions but stays with Al, what happens? It's back to old business. And that's why I say, like, if PBC falls apart, Al's still around. Al's going to stick around as a manager. He is. And for people saying Al's going to go away, the same people have been saying Oscar's going to go away, these dudes are making money some kind of way. I know Al ran through investor money, $1 billion, whatever it's up to at this point. I understand they're losing a lot of money, but Al's making money. I know that because if he wasn't, he wouldn't still be around. So if his current advisor role falls apart, he'll still be a manager. He's still going to be around wreaking havoc. Don't doubt me on that. But it is a front. TGB is a front. I hope people know that by now. Like, TGB isn't a real thing. Like, it's a shell company. It's a money laundering scheme. Like, it's a way for him to get around the Muhammad Ali Act. It's smart. But everybody, it's like wink, wink. Everybody sees it. But he still gets away with it. It's like the mafia. Yep, India's growing too. Vito Corleone, silly Americans. Tank had multiple championships in 3 weight classes. I know, Reggie's. We call them Reggie's. Look it up. I can look it up. They're called Reggie's. They're Reggie's. Uncle Al sees where Showtime is heading. Even if PBC folds, Al will make all profit and no risk, strictly as an advisor. So to me, what's happening here is Andy Ruiz is simply cutting out the middleman, and he wants some of that oil money too, right? And that's what Sean Porter is trying to tell these fighters. Like, come out here, cut out the middleman, just work with the princes directly. Keep more of your money. I mean, look at those Mexican fighters accomplishing by going to the UK. That's what I'm saying, Liza. Shout out Liza, 271 in the building. Follow her over there on Twitter as well. Great follow. I mean, look at those Mexican fighters accomplishing by going to the UK. And this is what I'm saying. Like, be aggressive with your career. Go where the fights are. Take control of your career and become a great fighter. Traditionally, become a great fighter. Build a generic fan base. Build a generic career. These new content creators, the new media is lying to you. They're telling you not to do things traditionally. You don't have to put in that work anymore while they fight the battles for you. Oh, by the way, let me bring up this sound bite. Good Lord, this is beautiful. I want y'all to watch this. Let me see if I can pull it up. This is on my Twitter right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 1 minute, fellas. I want to bring this soundbite up. All right, here we go. All right. And this is Ellie Seckback right here. who is wonderful. I love Ellie Seckback. He's a gift that keeps on giving. Let me see if I can get this soundbite. Let's see. Hold on. Because this is classic. This is a classic one.
Somebody? Me and shit.
All right, let's replay that.
But if they do fight, who wins between Fury and Usyk?
I don't know. That's on the fence. 50-50. Yeah, that's a 50-50 fight for me.
Listen to this. Watch.
Because you just never know when you get in there. It depends on who's going to cheat the hardest. That's what it is. It depends on who's going to cheat the hardest.
All I know is someone failed a drug test. I'm not saying who. And someone was messing with gloves in England. I'm not going to say who.
Listen to Ellie.
Someone messing with gloves in England.
That ain't proved by a sanctioned body.
Listen to Ellie.
But because it's their gloves, it's okay.
And someone had a fight where they had a big cut that anybody else on the planet would have gotten the loss, but he got the W.
He wants to belong so bad.
Overcount.
Yep. Listen, let me tell you what I learned in life. Listen. Some people could jaywalk.
Somebody got to come. Somebody got to
listen. Somebody.
Me and shit.
Listen to Ellie. Listen to what I learned in my life. So stupid. But watch this. Watch this.
I mean, that would be a great fight. You know, all these different fights coming up would be a great fight. It's just getting the fighters to fight. You know, when it come to me, it comes a consequence. You know, with other fighters, you can just fight them and not receive a consequence. But me, fighters look at me because I have the power. They look at not only they're gonna get paid, but they may use the money for
Look at this.
Right.
Bless. Oh yeah, look at that.
Most definitely.
With respect.
All smiles.
How are you gonna return Deontay when we see you back in the ring?
Hug, dap, smiles. What's the lesson there? What is the lesson there? You're fighting battles for these fighters. These content creators are fighting battles for these fighters online, and they're going life and death with it. They're doxing people. Poor Mike Montero. I watched Mike Montero do a video over the weekend, and he's saying his wife came to him crying, like, dude, I can't have you doing boxing content anymore. It's too much of a drain on our family. It's too hard for us. People keep doxing us. People keep talking bad about our family, our children. The poor dude's he's getting doxed by these weirdo content creators. By these weirdo fans who are fighting battles for these fighters. Meanwhile, Deontay Wilder is in front of Ellie Seckback, who tries so hard. And Ellie Seckback, what a terrible dude. Like, there are dudes who, when they walk in a room, there are people when they walk in a room, they bring out the best in people, right? Ellie Seckback is the total opposite of that. When he walks in the room, he just brings out the worst in people. I watch his interviews. He just tries so hard to just rile things up, to pit people against each other. And you see it here. You see it here, right? It's like I say in life. It's like I say in life, Deontay. Some people can jaywalk. He's trying so hard to belong. He's trying so hard to fit in. He's trying so hard to stay on Deontay's good side. And I've said it for a while now. If you're still getting Deontay Wilder interviews, you're doing the wrong thing. I'm watching 78 Sports TV this morning because somebody sent it to me. And Deontay Wilder's out there saying he's an undefeated fighter this morning. Everybody knows I'm an undefeated fighter. He's trans undefeated now. He identifies as an undefeated fighter. So we can't tell him he's not, because that would be bigoted at this point. We can't tell him he's not an undefeated fighter because he identifies as an undefeated fighter, even though he lost twice. Should have lost 3 times, to be honest. But I'm watching this. I'm watching Deontay Wilder carry on in this Ellie setback, and Ellie's just trying hard to rile it up, right? And make it even worse. He brings out the worst in people. But I'm watching this, and then I watch a complete 180 when Deontay Wilder is confronted by Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury is clearly trolling him. Bomb squad! And by the way, somebody told me, you need to watch Yelling Bomb Squad in Saudi Arabia. I didn't say it. But all I'm saying is, look, all of that talk, and he's riling up content creators, and they got his back, right? And they're fighting for him like Bloods versus Crips, right? Then they're battling everybody who tries to give you the truth about you can't put egg weights in gloves. Like, fellas, like, if anybody out there watching, I got 55 people watching me right now. And by the way, hit the like button if you can. You can't believe that somebody can put egg weights in gloves. Their hands will be destroyed. The glove bends like that. It's not Everglass gloves you buy from Academy, fellas. And you can't believe that Tyson Fury got to your trainer and told him to poison you. Like, what is this? But if you say this stuff, they come after you with full force. All resources are directed at destroying you, doxing you, going after your family, whatever it is. That's where we are now. It's completely different from the YTBC I was a part of 11, 12 years ago when I was active. For those 1.5 years to 2 years I was active. 2010, 2000. This was a great place. Dudes were going at it with each other, but it stayed boxing. It stayed boxing. Now they want to destroy you for going after their favorite fighter. They're going to protect him with everything. They're going to fight mythical battles for him. He doesn't even have to fight them. They're going to fight him for him. But what happens? This dude goes to Saudi Arabia. He's confronted. He's trolled by Tyson Fury, bomb squad, and what does he do? He walks over to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury doesn't meet him halfway. Tyson Fury doesn't walk to him. He stops what he's doing. Beelines, walks to Tyson Fury, daps him up, hugs him, bless. After all of that talk. Does that seem like a dude who feels like he was physically assaulted by egg weights? Not only cheated once, not only cheated twice, but cheated 3 times. And by the way, how bad is your team if your team allowed you to be cheated 3 times? And why would you want to continue to fight a guy that cheated you 3 times? Why? But why dap up and hug and bless a guy who did all that to you? After talking all that trash, and then go on 78 Sports TV this morning and say you're an undefeated fighter because this guy cheated you. What happened? What happened when he was in front of you? And what I'm saying to the content creators is, why continue to go to battle for a guy who's willing to do that, make that 180 when he's confronted by someone? Just saying. Makes you look a little soft. Just saying. Yep, Usyk went through it. A lot of these foreign fighters do this, man. And this is what I'm saying with American fighters. Get on it. Get on it. Do what these Mexican fighters are doing. Go to the UK. Lower weight class fighters going to Japan. We act like these places are the moon. We act like Stephen Fulton Jr. going to Japan. Josh Franco going to Japan. Like these dudes are going to the moon. There's gravity over there. It's a flight, dude. You're not going to space. Devin Haney going to Australia twice. Go where the fights belong. I mean, it's a crazy concept, right? Sometimes American fighters have to leave America. Oh my God. Oh my God. What a crazy concept. Sometimes American fighters have to leave America to go where the fights belong. Wherever you need to go to make the fight, go to make the fight there. Further your career, go make money. Good Lord. Why are you protecting these fighters? Why? What is in it for you? I understand the content creators who divisive and try to pit this side against this side, like Ellie Seckback, like a 78 Sports TV. They do this stuff on purpose. They rile people up. They pit people against each other purposely for the clicks. But why are you in these chats getting involved in this? Who is consuming this content? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Are you not onto it yet? If dudes have lied to you about A, B, C, D, E, F, G, why would you believe them about H? Why? You can't be that dumb. I can see Andy Ruiz versus Wilder and Saudi. Me too. Me too. Like I said, I think what Deontay Wilder is saying is I'm willing to do the fights that Al Heyman wants me to do. I'm just not willing to do it at that price. I see what these dudes are making over there. So I'm simply going to cut out the middleman. Andy Ruiz, I'm simply going to cut out the middleman. I'm going to go deal with the princess directly. I know I have to pay Al his price, and he probably brings value to me as a manager. So I'm going to stay with him as a manager, advisor, but these Saudi princes are going to be my promoter right now. That's where the money is. That's where I'm going. And good for them. Good for them getting that money. But my only thing with Wilder is why I keep talking out of both sides of your mouth. Just accept the losses. It's fine. Accept the losses. Accept them. It's fine. Like I said, like real boxing fans like me, we don't care about the losses. We just want you to fight the fights. That's it. I saw a study this morning. I liked it on Twitter. It was like they did a study of 5,000 women. And they told the women to rate average men, but rate them in attractiveness. Average men from 1 to 10 in attractiveness. And they gave them 3 different scenarios. You walk out of a restaurant date with this guy and somebody tries to assault you as a woman. And the man stands there and allows it to happen, does nothing. They rate that guy as a 2. If the guy defends your honor in that case and loses, they rate him as a 7.5. If the guy defends your honor and wins, they rate him as an 8. What does that tell us? What does that tell us? Same guy, 3 different scenarios. What that tells us is they don't respect the man who doesn't fight. But what it tells us even deeper is 7.5 to 8. There's not much of a difference there, right? They just want the dude that's going to fight. The dude who wins, that's a half point difference. They give him an 8. The dude who loses 7.5. There's not much difference. They care that the dude cared enough about her and was tough enough to fight. The dude who didn't fight is a 2. Not attractive. Furthermore, they said the dude who was more attractive and didn't fight ended up being less attractive on 1 to 10 than the dude who was not attractive and fought. This is boxing fans. Boxing fans are the women in that experiment. Real boxing fans, the new media tries to brainwash you against this. They try to put you in this artificial market where this doesn't matter anymore. It does matter. It does matter. We just want fighters who fight. It's as simple as that. We just want fighters who fight. We don't care if they win or lose. It's our frustration with Tank. They think we don't like Tank because of surface issues. We don't. We want Tank to fight fighters, real fighters. We want Deontay Wilder to say, you know what? I fought Tyson Fury 3 times. Props to him. Lost the fight. I'm moving on. Instead, he's going to whine and whine and whine and fight Robert Helenius on pay-per-view, and we're supposed to accept that that's a pay-per-view type fight. Appreciate you rolling through. Why Adrian Broner won't go overseas? I think he will. Let me say something. I love my chat because they give me perfect segues. Adrian Broner announced yesterday he's not with BLK Prime anymore. So that was quick. So what do we have with BLK Prime so far? They gave Terrence Crawford his full $10 million. We got to give him props there. And they gave us a top 10 welterweight fight. And they got Bud active when Al was messing around with him. But I think that did not go over well with Al. If I'm reading this correctly, that did not go over well with Al. What BLK Prime did. And Adrian Broner going over that. The Godfather tells us we don't believe in coincidences, right? Coincidence happens once. Okay. Twice. 3 times. If Adrian Broner's opponent falls off 3 times, something's happening there. Somebody's sabotaging that fight. I think BLK Prime had a lot of headwinds going against it, a lot of things going against it, a lot of obstacles, but I think Al wasn't happy with a lot of things going on there. I'm just going to say that. And it wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear from BLK Prime ever again in SMS Audio, Rock Nation, the Bella Dame Enterprises. A lot of these guys come along. There's a graveyard of guys who try to become promoters, network execs, managers in boxing, and they don't last. That's what makes what Bob's doing amazing. Al's sticking around. Oscar been around for what, 2 decades now plus? And now you got Eddie Hearn making moves. What these guys doing is tough. It's not easy. You need a lot of backing. You need a lot of investor money. You need to be able to grease a lot of palms, network with people in order to stay consistent with this. Matchmakers, it's a whole entity you have to have. And I think what BLK Prime is quickly realizing is this is harder than we thought. This is harder than we thought. We can't just come over here and pluck off fighters. I believe the reporting early on that BLK Prime was going to sign a bunch of fighters, pluck off a bunch of fighters, but I think Al cut that off at the head. I don't think that was going to happen. BLK Prime did not last long at all. That was a one-hit wonder. That was Milli Vanilli right there. So Crawford versus Evan Nejian, I think that was it. Now Adrian Broner is saying, look, you can keep that 8-figure contract that you promised me, and I'm going to go over here. And I fully expect him to go explore over in the desert as well, over in Saudi Arabia. I fully expect that to happen. Now, speaking of, I don't know if y'all noticed this. Floyd Mayweather fought in front of like 400 people over the weekend. And it's hilarious that Leonard Ellerby was calling. He was saying last year, Floyd's still a face of boxing. Look at what he's doing. Look at what people still. This dude was fighting in front of like 12 people over the weekend. And that's what I'm saying. Like the exhibition circuit works for a while and then it doesn't work. Jake Paul's numbers were going down pay-per-view wise before the Tommy Fury fight. They built that up, and now there's not going to be much of an avenue forward for Jake Paul going forward. And if Tommy Fury thinks he's going to capitalize this off of this to bigger and better things in boxing, I think he's mistaken. And what Floyd is realizing, I think Floyd fully expected to go over to the UK, big market that was crazy for him back in the day. They loved him over there. They hated him, but they loved him. Not so much anymore. I think he found that out over the weekend. These dudes he's fighting, nobody knows who they are. He thinks it's funny. He's sitting on top of the ropes in between rounds. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And no, this doesn't do anything to his legacy. It doesn't tarnish his legacy. These aren't real fights. But what I'm saying is these people who still think Floyd is the face. They think that anybody is the face but Canelo. It's not true. Canelo is the face. Anthony Joshua is shortly behind him. And that's it. That's it. You remember like when Floyd went to the UK and they're showing him standing next to Anthony Joshua. I wish I had, I'm going to show this tomorrow. I'm going to pull up that video and show it. And they're showing him, he's standing next to Anthony Joshua. Everybody is coming up to take pictures and get autographs with Anthony Joshua, and nobody is going to take pictures with Floyd. And it was sad to watch. And Floyd's just kind of standing there lost. And I think that's what Floyd was. He's not going to say it, but internally, I think that's where he was yesterday. He's saying, I booked this big O2 arena. I expected thousands of people to be here. And I can't even fill up half of the lower bowl. I think that's where he is. Like, some people realize at certain points in their life, like I gotta do the casino circuit at this point. You ever see like Hall & Oates playing in Biloxi, Mississippi, in like a 500 person arena theater? That's where they are. Hall & Oates at one point, they were hot. We still enjoy listening to their music, but are we gonna go out and watch them? I can watch Floyd's old fights. I don't know this dude he's fighting. Yep, some of the girls I know will jump in and defend you. But it's a good study. Like, it just shows they want people who fight. It's not just women. It's fight fans. We just want fighters who fight. That's it. 4, 5, 6 losses doesn't matter. You fought the fight. You fought it. You lost. You fought it. You lost. And that's the sad thing about these fighters' careers. And I don't understand these fans with the Stockholm syndrome. I don't get it. Why are you capping for these fighters who aren't living up to their expectations or care enough about you to give you the fights you want? What is in it for you? What's in it for you? I know what's in it for the content. I've had content creators tell me, and these are some of the good ones. They've told me, I don't like this, but guess what? It's actually good for my clicks when the fights don't happen. Because I can get on here and blame the other side, then they can blame me, and we go back and forth. I'm not in it for that. I'm a boxing fan here, talking to other fans about how we can expand as boxing fans, how we can further our agenda as boxing fans. That's what I'm here for. I want the fights. I want fights every weekend. I want great fights every weekend. But I've had content creators tell me it's actually good for us. It's good for our clicks. So I know what's in it for them, but what's in it for you as simply a fan, not a content creator, but a fan. You're not a content creator. You show up in these chats. You egg these guys on, the divisiveness. You dox people who disagree with you. You dox people who openly want what's best for boxing. These content creators are leading you astray. They don't want what's best for boxing. To me, my enemy is anybody who blocks me from getting good fights on my television. I buy the apps. I support the fighters. I buy the pay-per-views when they're worthy of it. I support the fighters. But they brainwash you into thinking that I'm bad for boxing because they brainwash you into thinking that I'm anti-fighter. I'm not anti-fighter. I'm pro-fighter because I realize that the way to uplift every fighter from top to bottom is to give us the best fights available. You simply want what's best for your favorite fighter. And I don't even know why your favorite fighter is your favorite fighter if they're not giving you the fights you want. Why is that even your favorite fighter? Black, white, brown, yellow, capitalist, communist, socialist, I don't care. Democrat, Republican, whoever you are. If you're giving me the fights I want, I support you. I can compartmentalize that as a boxing fan. Why is that fighter your favorite fighter if he's not behaving like a fighter? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't compute. And if you like fighters simply for surface issues, that's fine, but they're going to let you down. They're going to do what Deontay Wilder did over the weekend. Deontay Wilder's talking all that trash, but then he sees Tyson Fury in the flesh. He beelines to Tyson Fury, daps him up, gives him a hug, bless. After saying all that cheating stuff. And then the next morning, what does he do? He gets on 78 Sports TV and gets back to the cheating talk. I'm really undefeated. I identify as an undefeated fighter. What's attractive about that to you as a boxing fan? What's attractive about that? Give me the fights. Give me the fights. I am naming the names, but give me the fights. Should have fought Ricky Hatton in Manchester, would have sold out. I saw ZZ Top in a little club with about 300 many, many years ago. It was awesome. I've seen a lot of good shows like that. I've seen Boys to Men in that same theater 3 times. They were great. But there comes a point in time when you're the big attraction. You were the big attraction at one point, but you're no longer that big attraction. And it's fine as long as you realize that. I don't think Floyd realized that until yesterday. I think Floyd's looking out at the crowd and saying, what happened? How am I not that dude anymore? The world, like, it moves on, man. It moves on quick. And that's healthy. Change is healthy. Like, we talked about that early on in the broadcast. 140 is healthy right now. 147 and 160 are not. Why? Why is that? We see a guy like Matias come in and destroy Ponce and say, that might be that dude right there. He might be that dude. And then we start to think, what would he do against a Regis Prograis? And then we see Jose Ramirez say he's going to go over there and fight Richard Comey. And we say, all right, Jose Ramirez ain't about that life anymore. So that's that recycling process we talk about, right? That you'll have guys fighting at the top, trying to be the top dog in the division. They knock other guys down. And then we'll see if that guy can climb back up. But you always have that shuffling going on. At 147, we haven't had that shuffling. Why? The 2 top guys won't fight each other. And then underneath that, I'm being told as a boxing fan that Boots and Virgil can't fight each other right now because it's not good economically yet. We need to wait. We need to let it marinate a little while. Why are you talking like that as a boxing fan? Why do we need to let that fight marinate? Why? Why is that? How old were Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns when they fought? Hagler Hearns. How old were these guys? Young men fighting each other. Another thing they brainwash you into believe, these guys need more time before they fight each other. They don't. Boots and Virgil are ready right now. But luckily, we're getting Virgil and Stanionis, but they will brainwash you into saying stuff like this. It's sad. I really hope better Biev and Bivol happens this year. And that's another thing. Great comment. Great comment. They'll also brainwash you into saying things like Canelo is holding up Bivol better Biev, and he's not. He's not. Another fight that should have happened right now. And I brought this up a couple weeks ago when this narrative started. What happened when Bivol beat Canelo? Bivol beats Canelo, right? Okay, he beats him. Then what happens? Better Biev is going to fight Joe Smith Jr. the next month. So if boxing was not on the spectrum, if it was not retarded, what would they have done? They would have said, okay, this is a perfect time. Let's have Bivol ringside when Better Biev fights Joe Smith Jr. Right? But no, what do they do instead? Bob Arum announces the day before the fight, we're going to do Yard next. He's the mandatory. We're going to do Yard next. No, Undisputed. I know you want to see that, but we're not doing that now. We're going to do Yard instead. Right? And he has Yard ringside instead of Bivol. And instead, what do? Better Biev knocks out Joe Smith Jr. So it would have been perfect segue. Both these guys coming off career best wins would have been perfect segue to do Bivol versus Better Biev. Right? Perfect segue. But no, we can't do it. Can't do it. We're going to give you Yard next. We're going to give you Bivol. We're going to give you Better Biev versus Yard and Bivol versus Zerto. And they even tried to get in the way of Bivol versus Zerto. This is where we are. And then they're going to brainwash you into saying that's Canelo's fault. This fight should have happened 3 times over by now. I don't blame Canelo for wanting a rematch in September. He's got nothing to do with Bivol versus Better Biev. He doesn't have to step out of the way for anything. He's the cash cow. But you could have done that fight by now. And you can do that fight in June. You can do it. You can do it. But you'll have content creators. You'll have casuals. You'll have the fake boxing fans that will be out there telling you that you can't do it. It's impossible. It's impossible to do it. Why is it impossible? Well, he can't bounce back from fighting Beterbiev in June. And if he beats Beterbiev, fight Canelo. Why not? Why not? Why can't he do that? Canelo fights Bivol in May. He fights Golovkin in September. He's going to fight Ryder in May. He wants to fight Bivol in September. So why can't these fighters do that? Why not? Why can't they? You've lowered your expectations because you've been brainwashed by the power brokers to lower your expectations. You've been brainwashed by the power brokers to speak like a power broker. You've been brainwashed by the network execs to speak like a network exec. You've been brainwashed by the promoter to speak like a promoter. You've been brainwashed by the manager to speak like a manager. You've been brainwashed by the fighters to lower your expectations of them so they don't have to do great things. You can fight the battles for them online while they put up their feet and take it easier. That's where we are. That's where we are. I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about today. Conor Benn, the WBC. I told y'all months ago. I told y'all, what was that, 6 months ago, whenever this happened? I told y'all what was going to happen with Conor Benn in the WBC situation and the BBB of CUK. And closely watch that situation because that's going to be funny if it plays out the way I think it's going to play out. Because Conor Benn is now on the offensive. Conor Benn is now suing the BBB of COK. And why do you think he's doing that? Do you think he's doing that to get money back from the Chris Eubank Jr. fight that was canceled? No. This is leverage, fellas. This is him getting on the offensive and saying, they're going to get to the bargaining table. This isn't going to go to court. And what he's going to do is, you drop that law. Well, I'll drop that lawsuit if you allow me to fight again. That's what's going to happen there. But I told y'all what was going to happen with that. I told you. But on that note, man, I appreciate everybody that swang through today. Show up same time tomorrow, noon Central Time. Tomorrow, Tuesday, and we'll be back with Hispanics Causing Panic on Wednesday night, me and D-Style over on his channel. Appreciate y'all, man. As Deontay Wilder would say, bless. God bless.